No one could ever accuse the Geary brothers of being alike. Victor was always said to be going places. Pip was observed to be doing quite well considering. Pip scraped into Selwyn College, Cambridge, thanks to his rugger, while Victor was a major scholar at King's. It was typical that Pip should play in the second row for his college 15 and eventually be elected to the 60 club as number 59. Whereas steady-handed Victor, whose evenings tended to be spent with influential minds, became president of shooting without having to raise a sweat and was elected to the Hawks Club, thus becoming eligible for an enviable tie. When sporting Philip congratulated his brother, Victor frowned.
These things don't matter anymore, Pip, you know?
Good luck seemed to weigh more heavily on Victor than did bad on his brother. Pip reckoned he did bloody well to get a third-class degree in geography. Whereas Victor walked away with a start first and passed top into the treasury. As for Pip, after some difficulty, his sporting connection secured him a job in a travel agency, whose main business seemed to involve parties of rugger players to continental destinations. Victor, on the other hand, was to be found in circles to which no package tours were available. He met Wendy D'Souza while dining with the warden of Wadham. Wendy was the star of her Oxford year. When she acted famously for the Dramatic Society, a gushing reviewer said that she was the only girl in Oxford
who managed to be completely naked with all her clothes on. Naked with all her clothes on. Is it true, Mr. Sousa, that you were born in Alexandria?
Well, someone has to be, don't they, Lord Kinnear?
And I suppose you knew Morgan Forster?
Yes, it's a very cheap sherry and deplorable teeth.
You didn't get to meet his policeman, did you?
I was never sufficiently favoured.
What did it matter that, to everyone's surprise, Wendy failed to get a first in her finals? Victor and she had chosen each other as the kind of prize to which no one else could possibly be entitled.
Barbarians are not coming to our wedding.
Barbarians are not coming to our wedding.
Datey,
Noel and Bernard.
Carl, Isaiah, Jonathan.
Carl, Isaiah, Jonathan, Freddie and Dee.
Iris and John.
And Peter. And Peter. And Peter, I suppose. And I shall have to ask my brother, shan't I?
Have you got a brother? What's he like?
Well, he's all right, Pip. It's as far as he goes, really.
And that's as far as he's coming, Hart. Hello, Peter.
Or, no, I think it was... Wasn't it? Am I not right? Or does it go... You simply hesitate. And he who hesitates is lost, isn't he? Which certainly includes me, because I'm looking for Victor Geary's office, my brother. It always used to be here. They moved it upstairs. Or rather, to be accurate, they moved him upstairs. Cheaper. One floor up, two along, months ago. Mozart, am I right? Oh, Mozart, yes indeed. Well, almost certainly. I'm claiming it's Kirkle 622. Can you, I'm afraid I just heard it on the 88 bus. Very infrequent 88s. I must have been lucky. Kirkle 622, any money you like.
All I actually said about the think tank was that I saw no objection to getting rid of the tank, but I thought we probably ought to hesitate about getting rid of the think. Now, it went down well. I see no reason to deny authorship. Yes, we had a very good time ourselves, sir. As I think my wife, well, Baudelaire was a special subject, you know. I shall certainly convey that to her. If I can find a purple cushion, I will of course use it. Pip, don't. Indeed. Oh, you're rather lucky.
Am I? Aren't you?
Finding me here. Chancellor's jet developed a cough, so he's stranded in Caracas. Our departmental tour d'horizon finished rather earlier than usual.
Graduated to cream sandwich, have you? It'll be knighthood next. What's the tour d'horizon in simple English?
Don't play the pleasant, Pip.
Look, I dropped by your shop because I've got a bit of news. I'm getting married.
Are you, sir? What are they for?
To live happily ever afterwards, of course.
Don't know her?
Unless you remember the Dimiges.
Pass.
They live down the Malden Road. Well, she happens to be their niece. Her name's Max. Well, actually, it's Maxine, but I call her Max. I hope you won't disapprove.
Well, what sort of girl is she?
She didn't go to university, if that's what you mean.
Well, millions of people don't go to university.
Yes, but you don't know any of them, do you?
Where did you meet her?
Hatfield Peveril Ragger Club Hop.
Did you ever find your women anywhere else? How many have you had in your life?
Can't count. Only got the two hands.
I've had precisely two. Wendy, and that pissed Swedish bit at the King's May Ball when Rafe Nicholson had an attack of the droops. I stood in for him. Monica was her name. Two women. And I'm 31.
Wendy's worth a dozen routine shags, isn't she? Quality's what matters.
Quantity first, then quality. I realise now how unlucky I was.
You sod. Unlucky getting Wendy? Oh, bloody well tell her. Christ.
No, I mean in the sense that I more or less found my dream woman first time around. A few nightmares might have made all the difference. How old is she?
Max, 19.
You're nearly 30.
Just the right difference. I'm much too old for her.
What's she do?
She helps a vet. She's quite a bright girl, actually. B's in A-level French and history. She'll know what a tour d'horizon is.
That, huh? Sounds precisely the girl we need. Frenchie's developed a bit of a lump in one of her tits. You better bring her to dinner.
Well, make it a night when you haven't got 8 professors of Serbo-Croat and the man who made the big breakthrough in astrophysics, if it's all the same to you.
We know remarkably few astrophysicists.
She's never been exposed to the full Oxbridge artillery. I don't want her on her face at the first fence.
Shall we say Thursday, provisionally? Just the four of us. Gary. Ah, Sir Frederic. Who? Oh, yes. Yes, Kirkle 622. Yes, I'll tell him. No, I'm afraid I'm completely tone deaf. Oh, Frederic Hankey sends his musicological compliments. He informs me that Coco 622 is indeed the clarinet concerto, and he remembers the rest of it, he assures me. Well, come to him and he'll whistle to you, my lad.
I wouldn't like your job, I must say.
Yes, well, no one's likely to offer it to you, are there?
Give my love to the gorgeous Wendy. Grass still looks pretty green your side of the fence to me, old son. Don't grudge me my little patch of clover, will you?
I don't think we should get anything too pretentious, do you? Would you mind if we settled for a modest Gewurz?
I love Gewurz.
Purists might wince, rather. Rack of land. To be a Burgundy, really. I'm not awfully keen on opening my anti-penultimate bottle of Clos de Rougeau just for pip and some Mitcham-born female attachment. Something smells good.
It's me. I spilt the duty-free. Did I tell you George called? He wants me to do the Baudelaire volume in his Critical Heritage series.
That's impressive news.
I'm not going to.
Well, you ought to.
It's like hard work. Reggie!
Well, not for you.
Good.
You know, I'd still like to see you get your doctorate. One in the eye for them not giving that first-class degree.
You didn't mention a doctorate. Much it matters now. I still have the money.
You can have both. You can do the book, and then you can submit it as your thesis to Malcolm or Carl, or possibly even Marilyn. And then abracadabra, Dr. Gay, I presume. It always matters. No. Mrs. Sniff's left her mag behind.
No, she left my mag behind. I bought it.
Idle curiosity?
Industrious curiosity. They have excellent recipes, including one for making babies. It only takes a few seconds if you ever have them to spare.
And you wouldn't want to leave the world service just to get fat, would you?
I'm not getting any younger.
Oh, yes, you are. Anyway, just think what Gordon Potter would say if he found his right arm had been cut off.
He's really Gordon Potter, you know. He substituted the other T so people wouldn't guess what a nobody he was.
I never managed to laugh at the die of a nobody. He was betting Eudoxia Lane, wasn't he?
Oh, she's on the rota basis. You don't even have to bet her. She's in the sprung, the human sleeping bag.
Have you ever tried anything with you?
Gordon. Only an affectionate but respectful arm on the shoulder as we consider the implications of post-structuralism on West African village life. You're going to turn up and start an ugly scene.
I'm not very likely to do that, am I?
Are you trying to provoke a confession, husband mine? Or are you trying to make one?
I've absolutely nothing to confess.
Then what's wrong?
Absolutely nothing to confess. I hope this evening isn't going to be as grisly as I think it is.
You be nice.
When was I ever anything else?
Terrorised that man from Harvard. He wore Paul. He went home in an ambulance.
Well, he slipped on the stairs.
The afternoon hit him with that bogus quotation from Hegel.
Schopenhauer. Anyway, he deserved it. He was looking down your front.
Isn't that the front support?
Oh, I see Pip's still driving the same collection of sound effects from the First World War.
I love sports cars.
The girls he's had in that silly, bloody machine. Some people have absolutely no discrimination at all.
I know. They call them women, don't they?
Have you any idea how many? Tons!
Isn't it slightly low of you to measure Pip's ladies by weight?
As a matter of interest, could you ever, sounds like a bell.
It does. And consider yourself saved by it. Just.
Victor, I'd like you to meet Maxine. Max, this is my brother Vic, the one with the brains I promised you we had in the valley.
Pleased to meet you.
I do.
And this is Wendy.
heard a lot about you.
Oh, well, there isn't really a lot to hear.
There's plenty to see, isn't there, Wendy? An all good choice.
Would you like to go upstairs?
I wouldn't mind.
Oh, Portuguese.
No, you shouldn't have.
Well, Max insisted. She's got old-fashioned ideas. And a healthy appetite.
Oh, yes.
I didn't tell you, did I, about, I was afraid you might think it was why I was marrying her.
And isn't it?
Oh, a man can have enough of casual shags and one-night stands, you know.
No, I didn't know that.
Well, I'll certainly take a look at her, but the truth is I only take care of the accounts and stuff for this vet. I'm not exactly qualified.
Oh, really? Philip said he did brain surgery.
Oh, Pippi, you never did.
My brother, the first-class liar, no wonder he's done so well.
But not so often.
I picked a bit up mine during my time.
Well, I wouldn't be here otherwise, would I?
It's terrible, this one, isn't he?
I've always found him to be so, I must say.
He's very dry, isn't he, your...
Victor, desiccated.
Well, the dry soul is best. Isn't that what Heraclitus said?
I'll drink to that. I'll drink to anything, as a matter of fact.
Downstairs.
I'll lead you to it, shall I?
It's terrible how hungry I get. But this is really super, isn't it?
Have some more.
No, I better not. I'm dreading the wedding.
Oh, why's that?
Well, I'm in the club, aren't I? In the club, I'm positively vice president, and it shows. By next month.
It's only stuffy people like Wendy and Vic who'll be looking down their noses. Looking down their stuffy noses. We all know what they can do.
I didn't know I was coming.
Well, I thought... Sorry.
Are you going to go and work as Philip afterwards?
Oh, I'd love to awfully, but I've got this time bomb going off, haven't I? I wish I could do something like you do, Wendy. But, well, you need a degree for that, don't you? And
I only do it for the dibs, really, don't I, darling?
Of course not.
it's ever such a nice house. It must have cost a bomb.
Where are you thinking of living yourselves?
There's a slightly dilapidated cottage just down the road from Mum and Dad, where the Red Indians used to live, if you remember, Vic. I'm doing it up and down, and in due course, probably sideways as well.
The Indians? Whatever do you mean?
Sue, bit of quiet. There's a big called Wig, hence wigwam, hence Navajo, Creek, Cree. I'll speak.
Vic! He won't answer. He hated his childhood.
Did you? Just like Jean-Paul Sartre. I think it was Jean-Paul Sartre.
Yes, it was. Entre autres. So you're seriously going to go on commuting?
Oh, I'm not too serious about it. I've got some mates on the train. They bag me a beer. I do my neighbour's crossword over one shoulder and keep abreast of the main news on page 3 over the other. For those with a wide range of interests, the time soon passes.
And there's your writing, Philip. You haven't mentioned that.
In this house,
Writing?
it's not what you'd call writing, Vic.
No, well, only dead people do what Victor calls writing.
Well, books, articles, what?
I started doing it just to amuse myself, as the bishop said to the choir boy. I used to read a lot of trashy thrillers on the train. I'd change from your routine tour brochures and stuff like that. Then one day I thought, why not try my hand? Make a change from my foot.
He's ever so good at it.
Yes, I've been told. Now he's writing books as well.
I'd love to see one of them.
Oh, come on, Wendy. Wait till I start tearing them out in French, then perhaps you might.
Oh, have you shown them to a publisher or anyone yet?
Only Max. She's my mass audience, aren't you, Pudding?
Well, what are they about exactly?
Oh, terrible tribe. Sort of down-market James Bond. You'd hate them.
I don't think I ever really understood James Bond.
Oh, I don't suppose anyone would if they were all as clever as you.
The phenomenon I'm in.
What was that story about, Wittgenstein and G.E. Moore. Moore knew that Wittgenstein was something special because he was the only one who looked puzzled during Moore's lectures. Freddie told me that one.
Yes, but everyone knows it, though, don't they?
Ah, there's nothing wrong with this one. It's just a fibroid, I bet you. It often happens with bitches who don't have pups.
Pups, that's all we need.
Poor Frenchie, you dreadfully frustrated.
Poodles do tend to be a bit neurotic, don't they?
Not the only ones, are they?
Well, imagine having all those tits and none of them in service. I say, you will come really, won't you? To the wedding?
If the state of the economy allows, we shall not fail your feast.
You made the dragon laugh, Max. Not bad for a beginner.
Oh, he's not such a dragon.
You should see what he did to St. George.
He is clever, though, isn't he? Do wish I was.
Don't worry. You're quite clever enough for me.
Oh, she's not entirely stupid.
High praise coming from you.
But that said, dear God, why does he have to marry her?
As the sophisticates say, it sticks out a mile.
No. These days, she's not Catholic, is she?
Nice to be a mother. Nice to be a mother to be.
We can't afford it.
Why can they?
Well, it was an accident.
Wish I could have one of those.
Intelligent people are supposed to plan their lives rationally and do things sensibly and at the proper time.
Victor, have I ever told you the real reason why I married you?
No. I rather gathered we admired the same things, you know, wanted the same things, had the same values.
Neat little bum. What about you?
Well, I do remember being distinctly impressed by your recklessly décolleté version of Goneril in the Fellow's Garden.
I wanted to cover you from head to toe in the very best raspberry jam and then lick it all off down to the last pip. That's how gone I was on you.
Well, that rather suggests a passion for raspberry jam than anything else.
What about you?
Personally, I prefer black cherry.
Did you want to beat me with a gin shoe or something?
Certainly not.
I thought public school boys always wanted to do that to the women of their dreams.
I was only a weekly boarder.
Why did you marry me?
And put it this way. I thought you were the cleverest girl I'd ever met. You probably knew how to be clever with the clothes off as well as on.
If I'd known how much it mattered to you, I'd have worked a little harder over getting that first.
Never mind. I know how clever you really are.
I don't mind. Do you mind? I wish you could be really happy.
You mean you wish you were?
Easily could be. With a little sperm in the right place. You, on the other hand, don't really want to be, do you? So suburban. You secretly hoped I would lead you a terrible dance, didn't you? In between doing work of national importance with absolutely first-class people. You wanted a beautiful, faithless wife who did unspeakable things with lots of people behind your back. Instead of which, I love you. I don't even fancy Gordon Potter putting his hand on my shoulder. Poor Victor.
Flatter me.
I try. I bet it'd look just like you. If we had a baby.
Well, genes can play some very dirty tricks, you know.
Yes, well, those are the only ones worth playing, really, aren't they?
Oxbridge Blues. The birth of Sandra Jane was followed, as quickly as nature allowed, by that of Dominic Julian. Meanwhile, Wendy was pregnant, with a 13-part series on Commonwealth poets.
A few words for Level, please.
We have to pause and ask 3 questions at this point.
As for Victor, there was a mini-budget in November and the usual maxi-budget in March, followed by another mini-mini in the late summer when the poem came under unfair pressure and Victor with it. He tired, but he never flagged. He even found time to review a major new 2-volume biography of E.M. Forster, which he rather feared had got the emphases wrong. Though he hated to say so, he said so. Victor continued to go up and up, while Philip went back and forth. But rarely did the train meet.
It's too soon for a definitive overview of the influence of Ezra Pound and W.B. Yeats on third world cultures, but it would surely be a mistake to ignore the echo play between Irish mysticism and the King James Bible on the one hand, and on the other hand, work songs and the rituals of post-colonial contexts. The cultural eclecticism of Ezra Pound amounts at times to downright embezzlement. But it also works as a counterpoise to his paranoid racialism.
It's one immutable rule, isn't there, in bookshops? If there's only one other person in the place, he's absolutely bound to be blocking the way to the one book you're looking for. Shall I,
Victor!
Good Lord. Hello, Maxine. How did you know I was here?
I didn't. What do you mean? Oh, I see.
Pure coincidence. I can't believe it.
That's not your tricycle outside, is it?
Economic and ecological common sense, all on 3 wheels. So, what brings you to London?
9:53. Has Pip told you the news?
You're not going to have another one, are you? What's it going to be called this time? Carl Matthew Jonathan Wyndham? Or Emma Victoria Allison Xanthi?
About his book.
Book?
Yeah, he's had it accepted. That's why we're here. He's with them now, just down the street. It's going to be published.
Common consequence of having books accepted. Well, who's enjoying the privilege and what's it called?
Some people called Miller and Miller. It's going straight into paperback. They're absolutely rushing it out. It's called A Bit of Spare.
Oh, sounds just my sort of thing.
Pip's first idea was to call it Roundy Rides Again,
Second thought show commendable restraint.
after his hero, Randy O'Toole.
Randy O'Toole? Not publishing this thing under his own name, is he?
Why not? It's not as if he's got a reputation to lose or anything, is it?
I wasn't thinking of him, actually. Well, when is this volume due to join the ranks of literature?
Any day. They want the next one on the stores by Christmas.
The next one? How many are there?
Hundreds. Pip reckons he's got at least 15 ready to be typed, and he says he can knock them out at about the rate of 1 every 10 days. He's already got this female counterpart for Randy.
Let me guess. Well, let me not guess. Anne Orgasmia, Clara Clifton.
Sorry.
Randy O'Toole. Why do I never think of things like that?
Oh, you're much too clever. The man said I might find a copy of that book Keynes wrote about the characters at the peace conference back in here.
It's called Keynes, usually. It's Keynes. What got you into that adroit little bisexual operator?
There's something on the radio. It reminds me, I heard Wendy's program on Guyanese poetry. It was super.
Oh, I missed it. Guyanese or Guyana?
He was brilliant, wasn't he? Keynes.
Some of my colleagues have yet to forgive him for it. You ought to be clever to get into the Treasury, but it's unwise to give excessive signs of it thereafter. Well, you know what Talleyrand said? Surtout pas trop de zèle.
He was a snake, wasn't
No, one does tend to find them where the grass is greenest. Is he getting bags of money for it?
I suppose he will if they sell. Isn't it exciting?
Very. Bit of spare.
The 18-stone mulatto was built like a cast-iron shithouse. He grinned wolfishly and started to twist the helpless girl's arm behind her back. This is only the beginning, he promised her, and ripped the sheer silk negligee from her superb breasts. Manacled to the radiator, whose red-hot pipes were barbecuing his ribs, Randy could not help feeling a surge of virile excitement in his loins. The mulatto grinned at him and put his hairy paws just where Randy wouldn't have minded having a grope for himself. There was only one thing to be done. Forcing his blistering palms to grip the almost molten metal, Randy wrenched the radiator from the wall, and a gout of raw steam raised it across the mulatto's tawny back like a red-hot lash. He let go of the albino Venus and turned on Randy with a snarl of pure animal hatred. That was where he made his big mistake. Randy kicked the hissing pipe, and a gout of jetting heat cooked the mulatto's face into something that was recognizable only as medium rare. The luscious albino ran to unlock the handcuffs, and as the mulatto writhed on the floor, pressed her juicy breasts and gleaming thighs against Randy's newly released body, he pulled the rest of the flimsy dress from her body and smiled at her. "This is the only kind of heat I don't ever have too much of," he said. She pulled him down on top of her, and as the blinded mulatto thrashed in his terminal agony, Randy grabbed a few minutes of well-earned leave. "Oh, Randy," Aphrodisia moaned, "you make Pogo seem like a pygmy." "This beats paperwork every time," Randy thought. "I never knew anybody could do it like this," Aphrodisia was saying. "That's why we call it the Secret Service," Randy said. O'Toole was definitely riding again. Suddenly, he was aware that the whole ship was tilting at a more and more precarious angle. "Randy," Captain Helmholtz was shouting, "for God's sake, come quickly." Randy grinned to himself. "I'm coming as quickly as I can," he yelled. But every gentleman knows that ladies have to come first.
Geary, have you abandoned the Athenaeum?
Ah, it's Frederic. No, I was just,
Catching up on your reading?
Good heavens. I've got the chief secretary in precisely 8 minutes.
How's that brother of yours doing these days?
Exceptionally well, by all accounts.
It's almost scrapping the 88, apparently. Doing away with it altogether. The centre cannot hold.
Oh, that is so. The 88 what, Frederic?
Bus. The one he hears his Mozart on. Pity.
Well, I don't think he uses buses much anymore.
I say, he's not this Philip Geary, is he, by any chance?
Yes, as a matter of fact, he is.
Donahue reads him. You write too, don't you?
I'm afraid I'm not in my brother's leagues, Frederic.
My mother used to write shilling shockers.
Did you see Pip's new ones pushed his old one off the top of the breast cylinders?
I did.
Must be absolutely coining it.
No question.
I really do wish people wouldn't.
Ralph Putney wanted to pick your brains on these Imolas again. How much do you suppose he's making?
Millions.
"Oh, sorry to bother you, Gov, but I happen to be in the vicinity and I reckon you might be in."
What are you doing in London?
"Rolling along. I'm like Old Man River. Old Man River."
Yeah, got it.
I came to flesh you mine you run about. Now, what's the sense in ill-gotten gains if they don't get you what you want? Cop a glass at that, Mr. Treasury Man, and eat your bloody heart out.
They're yours.
Want to see the documents?
They're new.
You should have seen the aged pair's faces when I trundled them round Chelmsford in it. Mum was practically doing the Queen's.
It's magnificent.
That's what Vic was saying, isn't it, old son? He's knocked out. Look, there he is lying on the pavement.
Do you want some coffee?
I thought I might wheel you both round to the Ritz for lunch. What do you say?
Sounds bearable. Is Maxine not with you?
I left her with this Hooray Henry of an estate agent down in Henley. House hunting. I couldn't stand any more of his Eton boating song for a bit. They were going through the library, and, well, you know me and books. Chalk and cheese. So I thought, visit the deserving poor. Why not? Deadlier Than the Mail has been sold to the films. I thought we might go and salivate.
That's been used before, isn't it? Deadlier Than the Mail?
And it will again, old son. Meanwhile, it belongs to us. And so does London, for that matter.
I'll go get some old clothes on.
Don't worry about it, Wendy. Wear what the Emperor wore. On you, it'll look good. Are you sure you won't change your mind? Just fetch your pip, please. Yes. Yeah, right. Thank you. Yes.
Are you going to sulk all night?
I just came out to collect these.
I'll bet you don't need any of them. You just came up so as to be able to just walk out again. You've been walking out of every room I've been in ever since we got home. Do you think that's really a very mature thing to be doing?
I didn't think you felt like discussing it.
I don't even know what it is. All I know is that you're ridiculously jealous of Pip, and you can't even bring yourself to accept his generosity without looking as though you'd much sooner be reading collected works of Northrop Frye.
I would, much. The Anatomy of Criticism, though flawed, was a seminal work in many ways. Why do you happen to choose him?
I wanted someone with a silly name.
I don't think Northrop's particularly silly.
Well, I do. I think it's very silly indeed. Not as silly as you're being, but still very silly. Oh, you ought to be big enough to be pleased that Pip isn't going to spend the rest of his life touting package tours. If you don't care about money, that's all the more reason not to grudge it him.
I do not grudge Pip his money in the least.
I'd sooner you were a prig than a liar.
May I say, without being abused, that I do wish he'd contrived a way to get rich without being obliged to quite so consummate a display of farmyard taste and ungrammatical vulgarity. One would never think he'd been to Cambridge.
No, considering how much fun he is, one wouldn't, would one? Thank God I went to Oxford.
Fun isn't everything.
For God's sake, Victor, Pip's only writing the kind of stuff dozens of other people are turning out. It doesn't do any harm when you come to think about it.
When you come to think about it, if you come to think about it, you may just come to appreciate the utter scandal. Oh, yes, scandal of someone like you, Wendy, as intelligent as you are, uttering that kind of shallow, pseudo-liberal nonsense. No, I'm not arguing in favor of censorship, nor yet of the reinstitution of the Holy Inquisition. But I do actually think that although Pip's so-called books should under no circumstances be banned, no one with a shred of discrimination should fail to throw them in the fire at the first available opportunity.
Oh, really?
You think I'm jealous? I may be. You think I'm pompous? I may be. You think I'm a hypocrite and a phony? I am not. Books like Pip's may do him a lot of good, and sibling rivalry or not, I'm willing to wish him all the luck in the world on that account. But, his particular kind of muck, even though it gives you an upsy-daisy while sitting in St. James's Park, acts on the body politic like a tablespoon of sugar in a diabetic's coffee. Immediate gratification, ultimate death. No one denies that cheap thrillers have their exciting moments, nor should anyone deny that they are cheap and nasty. And a society that makes their authors richer than Croesus is moving away from decency at a rapidly accelerating rate. Why are you smiling at me like that?
I'd forgotten how much I admired you.
possibly just give me 10 minutes?
Hello? Wendy? It's Max. I hope it's not too late for you. Only Pip and I were talking. And you know we've got to go on this yacht around the Aegean Islands in June with Curly Bonaventura. Well, we suddenly wondered, would you and Vic possibly deign to join us?
I can't speak for Victor, but
I think I can just about manage that.
well, it seems to be settled.
Speak for Victor.
Sounds ominous, that. Vic, do come. It'd be such fun and terrifically cultural.
And terrifically expensive.
Yeah, but it's all going to be our treat, didn't I say? It's all tax deductible because Curly and Pip will be slaving night and day on the script of Randy.
Who's Curly?
Curly Bonaventura, Pip's producer. They're going to be scavenging for locations and all sorts of hard-working stuff like that.
Imagine seeing Greece for nothing, Victor.
Nothing can be too much.
There'll be oceans of time for reading. Tell him we can't wait.
If you really want to swan around the Aegean on the proceeds of Pip's revolting rubbish, then I suppose we shall just have to do it.
That's settled then. Why not enjoy ourselves for once? Who's watching? God is dead. So is Dr. Leavis. Who does that leave? Oh, Randy, she breathed. Show me what you're made of.
Oh, you go sometimes.
Oh, yes, she whispered, wagging her delectable tail. Whether he liked it or not, he was her kind of a man, and she was his kind of a woman. She didn't care what he wanted to do to her, just as long as it was her he wanted to do it to.
I wish you'd...
Oh, yes, my darling, she murmured hoarsely. You've got to show me what to do, and I'll do it.
Of course, Mark was there right before it happened out there on that highway. You know, I think maybe even Jackson was there. He was on it then, darling. He has been on it for years. You know, he had it at 10 billion. Look, you know what I mean, Carly. Jack Kennedy had it. I saw Jack at the Democratic National Convention, you know, when he had that second playoff thing with Lyndon Johnson. Oh. Well, there are some things you can keep quiet about. Some things you can't keep quiet about.
I never heard of anything you could keep quiet about, Lottie.
I could tell you things you think I didn't know right this minute. I have plenty of that I can dish if I have to dish it. No, health is something you can fool some people about, but you can't fool me. No, I can take one look at a person's skin tone. I can take them like a tree.
That must make you very popular, Carlotta.
I'm a survivor, darling. In my world, it's not easy. You think the mafia is tough? You should try the content platform. Make the mafia seem like bunny rabbits. Talk to George. Talk to Lenny. Talk to Maestro Giulini.
Hey, how was the wine, Doc? See you, King of Boys.
I'll still be drinking what you are.
This, I think, is easily arranged. Adonis!
It's the time we eat. Victor, you ready for some food, huh?
Watch that in subtitles.
He's coming. When Victor comes to Greece, he really comes to Greece.
When I usually come to Greece, the wind's like this, the tide's like this, we sit in the harbor, the captain makes like this, and we never manage to move at all. I think you must be my guardian angel, Philip.
If heaven is better than this, the saints were right to wait before having a good time.
Hey, that's not a bad line at all. Hey, you know, Wendy, I think we should get you to help us with the script on the rewrites. I'm thinking of sending the genius here off to start on Darling Does It as soon as possible. I'm thinking of shooting Darling and Randy back to back, huh? What do you say?
We won't have too much fun that way.
Yeah, but we will. Hey, I tell you, cinema, it's an act. It's nothing, trick.
I don't really think I'm a writer.
Just as well, I hate writers, most writers. They're lazy, pretentious, just interested in money.
Well, like me, Uncle Curly. I'm just interested in money, but I'm not lazy or pretentious.
Hey, Vittorio, what about you? You bring your pen with you? Huh? Your brother tells me you're the clever one in the family.
I used to be. I'm afraid I don't really know much about films. Quite frankly, I don't even really know what sort of things you actually make.
Basically, two kinds of films. Low-class shit, high-class shit. Just occasionally you make one a little special. Shit with sugar.
Hey, all about music, Vittorio. You like the music, yes?
I'm sorry to say, like Vladimir Nabokov, music means very little to me.
Darling, do you mean by that music means very little to you, or that Vladimir Nabokov does?
Isn't there a theory that appreciating music isn't a particular sign of intelligence?
Did you see that notice in the tourist office? Lost three-legged ginger cat, one ear missing, tail badly singed, one eye, recently castrated, asks us for the name of Lucky.
What a boy. Hey, you haven't been water skiing once today.
You've been counting.
That's all a movie producer does. Count, count, count.
Take me later.
I take you anytime, baby. Later, earlier, anytime.
Oxbridge Blues.
You ought to have a go.
I'm no good at sport.
Well, you kept your figure pretty well there, haven't you?
It's because I've been very careful never to take any exercise.
You are funny. I don't think enough people appreciate you.
They do, actually. They're just not among the present company.
Oh, aren't I here? I could have sworn I was. Do wish I'd tanned more easily, don't you?
I'm too much of a Puritan to go brown.
Puritan? You really? Pip isn't.
Yes, well, I'm a roundhead, you see. Pip's a cavalier. You can swash and you can buckle. I wish I could, but, well, we can't all be brimming with animal spirits, can we?
He is a bit of a bear, isn't he? You're more of a falcon.
I'm neither dappled nor dawn drawn.
He was a Jesuit, wasn't he?
Who's that? Gerald Manley Hopkins. You know Hopkins?
Amazing.
Morning's minion. It's an odd thing to call a falcon, don't you think?
Why did he, do you suppose?
Well, I think he saw the morning as a kind of god, an aspect of the divine, and the falcon as its emblem, servant of a heavenly coat of arms, sitting on his wrist, perhaps.
It's not really right, is it, all this? It's a bit of a scandal, really.
Wittgenstein once said that he wasn't absolutely certain what the purpose of life was, but he was pretty sure we weren't here to have a good time.
If only I'd been educated properly. You know the thing I really envy about you, Victor, is that you've got inner resources. I wish I had inner resources.
Yes, well, if Randy continues to ride at his present lick, you're not likely to have much use for them, are you? What with all your outer ones?
I don't know how I shall cope with Beverly Hills and all that.
Yes, well, you'll just have to take the smooth, won't you, Maxine? You're looking very Californian already.
Wendy's really beautiful, isn't she? Curly's bowled over.
That's what middle-aged ninepins are for, isn't it? If I had a wife like Madame...
Oh, Carlotte's a survivor.
She wouldn't be if I had my anti-tank gun with me.
I'm perfectly serious. We had a snowball fight in 83 degrees in the shade. Hey, ciao, Vittorio. Wonderful woman you have here. I hope you realize how lucky you are. Come on, darling.
Come on, Vic. Our chance to take the boat and find ourselves somewhere that'll be completely spoiled by next year.
Well, I couldn't possibly drive one of those things.
There's nothing to it. Easy as pie. Otherwise, the rich couldn't do it, could they?
All right.
Is Homer really buried somewhere on that island, do you know?
I think he's buried somewhere on every island in Greece.
It's
more like tireless tops to me.
I must say I'm a bit tempted. It's not the sort of thing you do in Mitcham, exactly. About you, Victor, is you're so educational. I wonder what Nanny would say if she could see us now. Real to think.
She sent us to bed without any supper, just heard.
She imagine that would be the last place. Hey, you'll never believe what I want to do. More than anything else in the world. I don't know that I dare tell you.
Well, I shall never know that, shall I?
You're the only person I really think might understand.
Oxford. Maxine.
She envies you. The wit, the wisdom.
I hope you disillusioned her.
I always disillusion everyone, don't I?
Poor Victor.
Really? Why?
He was so determined to see me as a person of serious purposes and educated taste. Basically, I'm nothing but a creature of impulse.
Oh, are you so? And whether are you basically impelled at the moment?
Curly seriously invited me to go out to Hollywood and work for him.
Has he just? What position? Not the missionary one, I presume?
You'll probably laugh. He thinks I could actually be in films. It's not too late. After all, no kids. Oh, I don't believe him.
Well, Maxine believes him. She thinks it's a crime you didn't act.
Imagine. Perpetual son.
You don't seriously expect me to chuck the treasury, do you?
If you forbid me to go, I won't go.
I forbid you to go.
Thank you.
For your own sake.
I only want to do a little living. With Pip being so successful suddenly.
That's why you really married me, isn't it? You thought I was going to be the successful one.
You are. On your terms.
Mr. Bonaventura may be a brainless purveyor of shit, with or without sugar. But he has the keys to the kingdom, whereas I...
He's not that brainless, Snobbo. He once won the prize for Latin verse composition out of all the school children in Italy, set by the Vatican. Amavirumque. Not to mention ter sunt conati imponere pelio ossam.
You won the Primum Vaticanum. Curly. That's not wholly unimpressive.
Oh, good. Now can I go to Los Angeles?
Goodbye then, wife.
Maxine went up to Oxford the following October. The children and the Norland nanny flew with Pip to Beverly Hills. Wendy and Curly Bonaventura followed when Pip had found the right house and the right pool and the right tennis court. Darling Does It was a smash hit. Darling Does It Again was in active preparation. Victor told his friends, and Wendy's, that she was researching a comparative study of Fitzgerald and Faulkner. George was almost certainly going to publish it. If he was lonely, he did not show it. If he was melancholy, he neither moaned nor boozed. He went home each evening with a bulging briefcase. His work, so far from showing signs of his domestic stress, was more stringently argued even than before Wendy's departure. His light continued to shine brightly under its bushel.
Get in.
Victor? It's Max.
Maxine! How are you, apart from bright and early?
7th heaven, rather. I've just had my results from Oxford, Victor. I got a first in mods.
And where are you? Are you still in Oxford?
Yeah, I'm at the Ritz, actually.
Oh, jolly nice digs those, I'm told.
You're not by any chance free tonight, are you? You're the only person roughly my age I can think of, quite honestly, who even knows what getting a first means. I wondered if I could take you out to dinner or something to celebrate. I've got this carte blanche thing Pip gave me, and I might as well use it.
What a nice idea.
You haven't got a date or anything?
No, I'll cancel the chief secretary. He hasn't got a carte blanche. Or a first, I don't think. I not only believe in it, I rather fear it's the foundation of literature.
And Ezra Pound rather proves your point.
Well, it hardly proves it, but lends it credence, shall we say.
I'm sorry I interrupted.
Yeah, but this comes back to the point you made about America. Because their national mystique, after all, concerns the pursuit of happiness, which has got nothing to do with culture, whatever. Literature, one might say, is positively a flight from happiness. Probably the greatest collection of writing talent in European history were quite content to use prostitutes for their sexual needs and not bother at all about happiness in the lovey-dovey, will you marry me sense. They dined chez Manier and they made love where it was most agreeably available. Good writers rarely make good family men. Yes, the thing that signals the end of an author's hopes is finding the woman of his dreams. No, who needs books after that?
How much do you think we should leave them?
Oh, good Lord, tons.
Here, I'll find the thingy, and you do the tips. It's my craft. You must find my conversation dreadfully... what? Earnest. After Wendy, I mean.
She married me for my bum, you know.
I can understand that.
Thought she was out of my mind.
I knew from the moment I met her she wasn't really for you. I mean, I'd never dreamed of saying anything, but the night I was supposed to play the kennel maid, do you remember?
She talked brightly. You talk well.
Whatever happened to that little French poodle?
Well, it's got a diamante lead, an American accent, high heels, and it's just gone through its third divorce.
Do you think the Pizan cantos are finally an apology or a self-justification?
Ah, let's look at it.
Well, let's go out to my room and look at it over a bottle of champagne. What do you say?
Well, it is rather thirsty work, isn't it? Lit crit. can there be capital letter fascism and small letter fascism? What is the relationship between metaphor and reality? And is the metaphorician responsible for the brutal realization of his conceits? Or, to put it another way, well, this may sound somewhat priggish to certain ears, but...
No, I love it. I don't think I could ever get enough of it. Or of you.
Ah.
Mind and body do go rather closely together sometimes, don't they?
I think I really ought to be...
You're so correct. But then that's part of what I love about you.
Well, look here, Maxine. Apart from anything else, Pip's paying for all this, isn't it?
He can afford it.
I only think it's some kind of revenge on my part. Typical move to put him down.
What does he have to know?
Deceiving people is so second-rate.
Is it?
He's my brother. Wendy's my wife. I can't...
Oh, come on. In view of what they're up to and have been for God knows how long, aren't you just being a little bit chintzy with it?
Pip and Wendy?
Surely you realized.
I thought she was working for the worldly whelp.
You poor darling.
Pip. What could she see in him?
Wait a minute, you're talking about my hubby.
You wouldn't want to live with him now, would you?
He was very good to me when I was just a nobody, and he always looked up to you. He so wanted to be somebody you could be proud of.
Yes, well, fame and fortune will just have to do for him, won't it? There seems to have been a severe case of crossed wires in the Geary family. It was high time it was put right.
You may not believe this, but this is a moment I hardly ever dared to hope would come.
You know, when you come to think of it, Pip and Wendy are ideally suited to each other, don't you think so?
I say, isn't it convenient? None of us will have to even so much as change our names.
Of course, you know, I shouldn't like to mislead you. You know, this is all strictly conditional on you getting a first in your finals.
Magistra scriptionis Rosa Maria, Opifices Johannes Lesius Martinusque, Captor Imaginium Plagium Michael, Habitum Umbrata Laetitia, Adjuton Andreas, Vestitoris Alicia Gilberti Melvinus Privatusque, Foca de Artificios et Susana et Francesca, Victor cum Luce Johannes Tractator et Varia, Ingeniosi Sonitus Potato Coma Beneditosque, Scintilla Prefector Thomas Scintilla Archibaldus Dionysius Accatorus, Corrector Janus Contractus Sarabadis, Imaginium editores Johannes Quisque Cantores Cantabile, Musicae Scriptori Carus Insularum,